Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome back to another The Theorizer reaction, and this is Mort Theory number 3, Dissecting all Hail King Julien. So, my video to numbers 1 and 2 of Mort Theory did rather well, so, which is to be expected, given, the amount of times people had suggested it, so, I figure I might as well keep this hype train going, and we'll continue with number 3 then. So yeah, obviously number 1 was just getting to know, Mort and the madness that was there. Number 2 was kind of going into King Julien more, but this one is dissecting it, so is this video going to be going more just into King Julien, like breaking it down even further? Because thinking about it, in number 2, really all he did was kind of like just talk about King Julien and just some of the weird things that happened in it, and not really many of the consequences. Honestly, really don't know. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I know is that, the Mort theories get even weirder than they already did in, number 1 and number 2. Because I'm going to guess that, in this video, Theorizer is actually going to start theorizing as opposed to just listing off the weirdness that actually happens in the show. So, I mean, yeah, might as well get this thing started. So yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. And if you like this video or any other video that I make, I'd very much appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe to my channel, because over 3/4 of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I'd very much like that to change, because my next big goal is hopefully hit 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
Everyone, make sure to watch the prologue to this huge
Already
theory
did.
first, and then the big first section of evidence. You are basically on part 3 right now. Technically, it's part 2, section 2, but for the sake of the algorithm, I'm going to call it part 3. I will link parts 1 and 2 above now as a playlist that I've made. For those who are prepared, it's time for season 4.
Honestly, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the playlist because that's where I currently have the video open from. So, it goes like part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it gets into Shrek for a couple of videos. And then this whole thing, this is weird. Oh, then it also gets into the other DreamWorks. Oh god, this whole thing, this is... Okay, honestly, I'm gonna ask in the comment section below. The playlist I'm currently using is the DreamWorks Mort Mega Theory thread. So should I just stick with the Mort theories, or should I also include the other DreamWorks theories in this, in this playlist as well? Honestly, I don't know. So, yeah.
Of All Hail King Julien. We are halfway through the show. Mort starts off the premiere by getting his own TV show called Still Life with Feet, where he mimics Bob Ross and draws Julien's feet. He also, of course, wears the blonde wig again and actually shows us another wig he's woven out of the stolen hair he mentioned from before. Clearly, this is something all of the personalities enjoy doing. More people mock Maurice until he runs away bawling, "I have feelings!" Mort fears that Julien can somehow hear his thoughts, and he panics, worried they will betray him. We're getting close to some answers. I can just...
Okay, so the fact that he knows his thoughts would be punishable. Okay, yeah, again. Already, this video's just beginning, it's already getting weird and creepy.
Just feel it. A couple of characters rob the kingdom, and during it, they have an odd conversation about friendly, non-weird wrestling. When they're arrested, they get put in a prison cell where Mort also resides, and he says the crazy line,
"Orange is the new you. Wanna wrestle? As long as it's weird."
Creepy as hell.
If I remember correctly from the last few videos, This was supposed to be a kid's show, right?
Another persona. You see, this show is
Yeah,
crazier
the
than even
jail
the worst
maybe
SpongeBob,
one.
and
Ugh.
yet it has incredible consistency. I've said it before. This makes it truly Disturbed. It's a show that pretends to be a kid's show, and that's what makes it so eerie. But it actually is a kid's show, so it's very unsettling. Mort finally describes his inner imagination world in episode.
Honestly, like I've said, like I've never really liked Netflix. Like, there's a lot. I mean, on top of other things and like their business practices and stuff like that. Like the fact that this kind of stuff was greenlit, you know, and a kid show with this kind of content. Like, I'm generally of the opinion that a good kid show shouldn't treat the kids like they're idiots. Because, kids know when they're being talked down to. But, a lot of this stuff, like, again, like, who would watch this beforehand to give it its rating? Like, this is, honestly, the more I'm hearing, the more, Mort is very disturbing.
2, when he says nobody ever gets hurt there, most of the time. I want to see this world, Mort. Later, everyone puts on a massive act and he plays the bad guy. He relishes in this and darkly chuckles with glee. Another persona? He gets a little too into it and lowers them all into a volcano while laughing like a maniac. Later, it is implied that he is faking it, though. In episode 3, he once again shows his artistic ability when he paints a phenomenal image of Julien, and Julien, of course, calls him a vulgar little mutant.
I can't tell with this. Did they actually make that? Or is this like one of those deals where like they took an actual painting and then just stuck like King Julien's face, tail, and like other things on it? I honestly can't tell.
Mutant. Mort asks,
When's lunch? I haven't eaten in like a month.
a self-sustaining system, perpetuating the Lovecraftian take yet further. He claims he's real good at smearing stuff, and that he has parties with organic mannequins of his friends. What Mort has is an obsession with Julien. It sure ain't love, and I don't know if I'd necessarily call it fetishization either. It's an obsession. He has another internal discussion with a personality. This time, it seems to be his inner artist. Our Mort loves the feet, the artsy one does not. Important distinction. Everyone stares at him in creeped confusion. I can't tell if the personality is coercing Mort or taking over Mort. It rotates. Lots more social commentary and sophisticated critique of the avant-garde. He eats fruits whole, but that's all pretty normal, of course, for this show. In the corner, we once again see his home planet painting. Funny, I was just about to say his obsession was alien and fueled by a desire to return to his home constellation. His goal in this episode was to paint Julien the way he truly sees him. His house is full of foot art, and he wants to mount the real deal eventually. Julien finally grants Mort foot access, and Mort screams, "I love you, the feet!" He throws his face and tongue all over them. See? He butchers grammar and says the feet, as if it's an individual entity he's obsessed with, not some.
Times like these, I would try to do like another one of those gags where, I just lie down on my bed and just scream in anguish. But the last time I did that, I wasn't wearing shoes, and a lot of you got really weird about it. How many Morts are watching my videos?
Some sort of usual atypical attraction. He hates other feet in comparison to Julien's, but he'll take what he can get. In episode 4, he has a minutes-long fart. He refuels by breathing in, once again proving him to be a hollow entity in essence.
I mean, I'm still holding it on to the fact that he just doesn't have any internal sphincter, so he's just like a balloon.
He wishes to be first on the sacrifice list and actively demands danger. He kicks out another sacrifice to take his place and says,
I'm first on the list. Read it and weep, Gramps.
He's talking to Hector, an elderly lemur in the kingdom. I was all like, aren't you older than him, Mort? And Hector literally follows it up with, you're older than me, Mort. See? Usually I have to highlight continuity like this, but here they are, seconds later confirming it for me. Accommodating show. So anyways, they catapult Mort far off the island, and then he suddenly appears right next to them, changed. So when his altars come into the light, they can teleport him? This rabbit hole is degrading me. Mort says he floats
I mean, you never know. It could be more the fact that he's just, all these different personas could be happening at different times. There's actually, like, he time travels, so there's actually multiple Morts running around at any given point.
Feel good because he swapped all his parts for wood years ago. The other character I do want to highlight is the only one I enjoy more than Mort. Another supernatural one that can aid in our mission here. That character is Todd. He is freaking hilarious.
Oh god, another one of those, like, really weird child characters that's, like, purposefully made to be, like, really disturbing. It's like Onion from Steven Universe.
He's this little pageant boy who's always commanded around by that insane Karen soccer mom I mentioned before, Tammy.
Yeah.
She's nuts and screams his name, and he always stares blankly into space with the utmost creepiness until called upon by his mother, at which point he does something random but extremely talented. In this episode, he highlights his paranormality when he walks vertically down the side of a chest. Everyone's rightfully scared of him. His mom claims he can be activated, whatever the hell that means. His default face is brainwashed, though, so I can certainly guess. He has this horrible, evil attack face that...
Honestly, this, I can just imagine it's more the fact his mother may have just removed his brain entirely. That way she could just have the ultimate, control thing for pageants, because, some of those women are so obsessed. Like, what's the big deal? If you're so obsessed, go in them yourself. Don't like, get your kid in there. It's creepy.
That looks demonic. And then, in this episode, Tammy finally explains it. She laughs villainously and no f***ing joke. Claims that they can only stop him by driving a stake through his heart while a priest recites a ritual. Todd is possessed by a demon.
Okay, never mind. Okay, I mean, I have to think, like, you have this show that is just so bonkers, yet at the same time seemingly has, such perfect continuity to it. What were the writers on? I mean, honestly, what were you guys on?
She screams at him to let go of Maurice's jugular, and he goes back to Catatonia. He looks like Mort and is important. This baby lemur is a key to a lock I haven't come across yet. But back to our good pal Mort, who disturbingly locks mannequins inside of his house and drops a boulder on it to put them out of their supposed bizarre misery. He puts on the wig again and plays some drums. Seconds later, though, he's back to our Mort, and I can't tell if he's right here hallucinating identities around him or what. He spoons sand and then pulls a cannon out of thin air. Dread pirate, I say. People around him don't even question how he apports things anymore. Mort calls Julien handsome, but I know better. It's a twisted obsession. Even when he laughs normally, the subtitles default to calling it evil.
Laugh.
Let it be known. Episode 5. Mort twerks a pole to seduce a rooster. During alleged sensitivity training, Julien calls Mort a fun-sized trash goblin, and Mort loves it. Also,
oh god, anybody that takes that type that actually likes that type of name calling and title. Oh god, it's that kind of stuff, keep them away with like a 40-foot pole and then immediately start whacking them with it because they don't deserve to be conscious.
Also calls him a worm-riddled peach pit and a second-hand donkey puppet, which Mort enjoys as well.
Donkey puppet.
Carl wants to keep Julien on his toes, to which Mort says, "Don't even look at his toes." Julien kicks him, as per the usual. Here, we also get a shot of one of Carl's side hustles, which is freelance religious work. He screams, "The power of the sky gods compel you," at Todd, causing him to float in mid-air and then thrash around. Demon child.
Honestly, I watch videos like this, and in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, like, am I doing a good job? Is this going to be, like, a good quality reaction? Because at the end of the day, and I'm guessing it would be slightly different if I was actually watching the show itself, but here I am just in a constant state of confusion. Because I'm just listening to the theorizer list off, like, odd occurrences that happen in the episodes of the show, like one after another. And I find myself just sitting here just in absolute silence and bewilderment. And I just keep thinking, oh god, I need to actually say something. Otherwise this isn't going to be a good reaction. Because, okay, so the kid's actually possessed. I don't remember what his mother's eyes look like. Is that why his eyes are so yellow like that? Or is this species of lemur just have yellow eyes for some reason?
I'm getting exhausted already. I mean, there's so much. And then a lot of weird
How many seasons did the show have? It was like 6 or
Mort
something?
Suggests that the Fusa have resorted to cannibalism. Mort implies he likes eating live chicken. Maurice lays an egg. Mort falls into a deep fryer and instantly turns...
Maurice? Wait, did they say Mort or Maurice?
Maurice lays an egg.
Maurice laid an egg. Yeah, that's what I thought he said for a second. How? Why? What?
Falls into a deep fryer and instantly turns into popcorn, then back again. Episode 6. More Mort madness.
Okay, well, I need to double check. How many episodes did these seasons have? Because I think there were 6 seasons, I think. Okay, yeah, so 6 seasons. But these 3 that, we're watching this video were 13 episodes each.
I think he somehow gets onto the mainland and then returns via parachute. A fork stabs him straight through the head, and he asks if something's burning, so clearly Mort has a brain, right? One that can be affected similarly to a human's. He later rolls around in an onion patch to protect from werewolves. There's some unique commentary in this episode on cults, and Mort gets hypnotized into being the evil cat of an evil, sophisticated crocodile who tries to usurp the kingdom. The show gets very, very, very weird. Mort then...
Are you saying this just now or just in general? Because if it's just in general, yeah, I definitely believe you. If you're talking just now, like, again, what kind of show were you, like, this is already weird. And hypnotized to be a cat? I go back to saying, like, I don't know, is this reaction to me that good? Because, like, I'm at a loss of words.
Then meows like the supposed cat he is. Probably genetic. I doubt it, but we shall see. Mort turns his head 180 degrees. Is he part owl? I doubt it, but again, we shall see.
I mean, going off your whole, no internal organs theory, he might just also have no bones. So that might just be his skin just doing that.
Persists here as Season 4 is pure insanity. Episode 7. Mort claims nobody ever asks about him unless he's under investigation. Based on his track record, it's certainly clear he's malicious indeed. Multiple arrests are quite likely in his past. Mort is asked if his family has had inbreeding, and he says he's his own grandfather. We soon learn...
I was gonna say I'd believe him, but then I'm trying to work that way into my head, and that doesn't work unless there's time travel involved.
Learn that his dad was a bear, and from what I understand, we eventually meet Grammy Mort's husband, so clearly someone is lying somewhere. Does this inbreeding mean Mort has time traveled? We're in very
what I literally just said.
Bombshell episode, yes. But I don't know.
There's a
Next
bombshell
up,
episode?
Mort swims in a tub of toenails and squeals, "Give it to me," as he fills his mouth with them. Tammy starts speaking in various extinct tongues when she presumes someone around her is possessed by a demon. She has clear experience with Todd. Mort then counters the notion that he breathes through his mouth when he dives in a pool and claims his gills are clogged with drain hair. This means he is also part fish.
Well, he already said he was part starfish. Wait, so how does starfish breathe underwater then? Okay, so because they don't have gills, do they just do it through their skin? No, I'm curious. Give me a second here. Breathe through tiny soft spots on their upper surface called papillae, also known as skin gills. They stick out the rest of the skin. Make oxygen, release carbon dioxide. Huh. Okay, so like what, these bumps on it? Interesting, okay. So they do have a form of gills, though that can't be the same kind of gills because I doubt those could be clogged up with hair. Ugh.
Mort panics and needs to consult his inner voices. One of them calls him Mortimer and tells him not to blow it. This new name counters when he called himself Mordecai and brings up the possibility that he just adds stuff onto his name quite randomly. But his original name is just Mort, which, as I've said many times before, is Latin for death. Several more Morts show up in his mind and show that they've got a whole system in this psychotic inner world. They're starting to truly build on Mort's lore, finally. He gets married to Pam, a woman who tries stealing the throne. They accuse Mort of being a completely unknown species, to which he replies he's fully aware that he's a medical marvel whose father was a bear. So much is going on now, it's madness, and they're revealing things about his genealogy. Remember Sage? Yeah, his huge bird comes crashing into a rock and he heals it with magical tears.
Wait, who? Mort or...
His last name is Moondancer. He has got to have Sky God relations somehow. Maurice claims to be surrounded by crazy people, and that is very sadly true.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of people on this island are inbred. Ugh.
Turns out Pam illegally married Mort and is a con artist. Turns out she also married that zombie who then reconnects with Mort and goes on a cruise. Mort, all done up in his usual blonde wig. It can't get any crazier, but I positively know it will. Episode 8. Mort is leaking something. Later says he burst an artery as well. Also raises his eyebrows, winks, and says he'll take some fine-tunage if we know what he's saying.
I mean, like... what I said before about, you know, kid shows, like, I understand sometimes, you can sneak in adult jokes into, like, kid shows and stuff like that, something for the parents when they watch, but why do you give them all to the same character? Like, he's honestly, like, the more I hear, the more I'm creeped out by Mort. It's... Ugh.
Pop culture commentary abounds in this episode. Mort thrusts the air, zero exaggeration. Then he roasts someone and later says, "Oh, I can handle this. Happy to do it, in fact." He nefariously chuckles. Another persona, I'm losing it. There's so much. I mean... I just can't. What? So you're telling me... No. We focus on Mort and the supernatural that surrounds him. Now is not the time for Puss in Boots. Shrek may tie in later, but for now, this makes no sense.
Yeah, so remember that question I asked before if I should, watch the other DreamWorks theories? I'm reiterating. Should I watch the other DreamWorks theories or just stick to the Mort theories? Again, leave your answer in the comment section below, because I'd very much... Because, still got a few episodes before we start getting into DreamWorks territory, but I'd very much like to know the answer before I start getting close.
Moving on. Episode 9, he's electrocuted, showing he does have a skeleton once again. Okay. It is implied that Mort helped brainwash some of the citizens, but finally, we've made it to the episode.
What do you mean it's implied he helped brainwash some of the citizens? They're doing what?
Episode where everything that they've ever built up unravels. The beginning of not just this show's madness, but what it does from now on, which is sci-fi madness. Absolute pure insanity, and why I'm making a theory. Season 4, Episode 10. You seriously all have to watch this one for yourselves. They don't even stall the inevitable that is this episode. Julien has that science dude, Timo, build a cloning machine so that he can love more of himself. He does, and various Julians of different personalities come strutting through. Lastly, a female Julien pops out and Julien falls in love, making Mort jealous. Mort loves her feet too, though, and thus he finally loses it and takes it upon himself to activate the machine again with his butt. He wants his very own Julien to, quote,
cuddle, bathe, and feed while he's strapped to a high chair.
The machine takes his signature instead of Julien's and reaches into another universe populated entirely by evil Mort clones. Turns out Timo somehow accidentally built an interdimensional portal and merely has let through alternate versions of Julien. In the Mort universe, there's thousands of.
Honestly, like, I know, mad science and stuff like that, but, like, how do you even do that? Like, you think it'd be easier just to collect the data, the genetic code, and then, bring a copy to, life. Not to literally rip open the fabric of the space between dimensions. Like, what? And if that's the case, then how come the other Julians weren't saying anything about being from other dimensions either? Is it just the case that all versions of Julien are so stupid they wouldn't notice? Honestly, I've said, I'm reiterating for the third time now, this video has me at a loss of words.
Them, who all bow and pray to their leader, Mordecus Khan, who sits on a giant throne of skulls in the middle of a barren wasteland filled with foot effigies. To those who thought I was joking, I have just stumbled upon the largest untapped gold mine in the known history of fan theorizing. They all march right through the portal, and Mort screams that his nightmares have come to annihilate him. I assume he could detect their existence through the fabric of reality, or his memories, I don't know. Every single Mort in Mordecus Khan's army seems to have the abilities of a regular Mort, and they begin destroying Madagascar while...
Oh no. Oh god, no. You have an evil army of the cartoonishly powered joke characters. Oh no!
While chanting, Mort, 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 Mort.
Their war horns are gigantic woodwinds that are not blown into with the mouth, but with the anus. They have endlessly long farts that announce their presence. Mordecus himself shows what a Mort is truly capable of when he claims to smell the fear of other lemurs as he conquers this universe. He claims to be supreme leader of the Mortverse, which to me either means the multiverse in relation to the Mort residing in each one, or it's just the name he gives his own barren universe. Perhaps his horde consists of every other Mort in every other universe he has conquered. Anyways, the gang tracks down Mort and forces him to down coffee so Smart Mort will return. Once he does, things come full circle. Smart Mort claims he has a friend who can explain the multiverse, and we cut to none other than
the pineapple
in his limbo, communicating with those on the ground. How does Smart Mort know Pineapple? How? How on earth? Is this thing even Julien's ancestors? Who knows? Smart Mort has seen it all. Pineapple then calls in Dr. Watermelon Balking to explain the multiverse, utterly...
Watermelon Balking? Is that a Hawking reference? Like, Steve... Watermelon in a wheelchair. Why... Again, stuff like this, I need to try to remember to turn my brain off. Because honestly, like, this... I keep trying to logic this. And my brain is just failing on, like, all fronts. And it hurts. My brain hurts.
I have a brain injury. My brain is injured. Ow.
Obliterating the fourth wall in the process by speaking directly to the quote, kids at home. Pineapple says he owes a lot of money to fruits and veggies of other universes. At this point, I feel like Pineapple is sort of the god or a god of our universe, interpreted the only way the characters know how. Smart Mort refers to regular Mort as himself once again. Normal Mort calls Smart Mort icky. So is he a persona or just Mort? Answer me, show, damn it! Smart Mort knows so much. He's got all the knowledge of Mort's immortal life, an anomalous elder god trapped as a mouse lemur in the corner of a forgotten island off the coast of Mozambique. Holy hell. He says every Mort in every universe loves the feet, and he gets distracted back into normal Mort, forcing them to copy him again. Mordecus says that no universe has ever dared face him. They chant their anthem, Mort, 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 we come to fight, we come to kill, today you die, you surely will. They vow to leave no survivors and dine on the tears of the dead. The clouds open up and reveal Limbo as the divine fruits watch down on the ensuing massacre. They pump up a massive balloon of a lemur foot, and it entrances the Mort horde. They run straight up a cliff face for it. Mordecus ain't so easily swayed. I can see why he's their ruler. On second glance, I do think the barren wasteland is in fact a completely ocean-free version of our world, right outside Madagascar. After all, it's through reality, not through space, and they drop down out of the portal that is elevated on our side. Mordecus nearly cuts off Julien's feet to take as a necklace, but they close the portal in time. Smart Mort returns to the depths of Mort's mind as well, claiming it causes a spatio-temporal imbalance for him to be out. He's multiversal, I know it. Well, that was draining, and we haven't even gotten to the 16-part episode yet.
I swear, like, so the hip thrust where he's basically just folding himself in half. This show. How far are we through this video? We're about halfway through. Actually, over halfway. And I honestly, at this point, I'm this close from, like, just giving up. Like, and just entirely. And on the one hand, I think that would save me, a lot of mental anguish trying to wrap my head around this absolute nutcase of a show and, lore of a character. But at the same time, if I just go with the flow, I can't help but feel that the quality of my reaction would go down, and this wouldn't be a good reaction to the video. But at the same time, I have literally nothing to say on the video, because Mort is an interdimensional being of wackiness. I keep thinking that there's going to be something that my brain will be able to latch onto to make some sort of sense, or that I can, connect to something I know, just act as, a base layer of stability. And yet, at every turn, my mind is thwarted, and I am left with nothing but Mort.
And now we do. Episodes 11, 12, and 13 of the 4th season follow a similar plot that culminates in a massive cliffhanger that is resolved in a whopping 13 more individual episodes of the serialized drama known as Exiled. It's basically season 4.5 of All Hail King Julien, if such a thing existed, and Netflix has, for some reason, separated it as its individual show because it's more dramatic and chapter-based. In episode 11, though, Mort says he has an imaginary friend named Nathan, which, let's face it, another persona.
Yeah,
Mort
I
says
believe
he
it.
likes his Julien soggy and alive. He gets struck by lightning through a roof. Mort once again mocks Maurice's crying by saying, haha, he's not dead inside. This presumes Mort thinks the norm is to be dead inside, i.e., Mort is dead inside. Mort's electrocution now causes him to attract appliances, and a Roomba chases him, to which he yelps, call an exorcist.
So now he's magnetic. Yeah. Honestly, I'm genuinely contemplating pouring this out and filling it with something stronger than water.
So, the enormous plot starts right around here, where Sage's brother, Koto, king of the mountain lemurs, comes in and lies about his kingdom being destroyed. It's all a plot to take over the lemur kingdom with his warrior species. Sage is rightfully suspicious. Episode 12. While the mountain lemurs plot and raid, Mort removes all of his organs. Some of them are metallic. Mort then, oh, to my great pleasure, gets a DNA test, and the kingdom's creepy doctor, Dr. S the Snake, is even terrified and disturbed by the results. The show then plays creepy music as he reads off the results in a very similar fashion to how I did in part 1. Mort nods as Dr. S says Mort's only 40% lemur, but 60% bear, starfish, sand, potbelly pig,
Sand?
cactus, and a spool of copper wire. Mort corrects him and adds on wood chips, to which Dr. S acknowledges as well. This is all only to Mort's knowledge. There could be more, or ones missed on the test.
I know it's for a joke, but like, what's the genetic material of sand and wood chips and copper wire? I'm thinking, and like, I'm very much like, I probably should have maybe watched this years ago. Just that way, I could have been spoon-fed the weirdness. Like, I've talked about it before, where I don't think much of, FNAF lore is that weird, because like, I've been in it since the very beginning, and since the first game, and it's just been very much, the boiling frog. I've been boil frogged to, not thinking it's weird enough. For this, I should have started watching this years ago when it first came out, because now I'm getting all of this weirdness smacked in my face all at once, and I don't know what to do with it.
Perhaps these are just from the organs he's replaced. Mort beeps when he's nervous. Julien has a dream of a parallel timeline where he never met Maurice, and in it, Mort claims he made a dream catcher woven from Julien's uncle's fur. Again, Julien's uncle is one of the show's villains, constantly trying to reclaim the throne, but we'll get more on him later. Maurice turns out to be an aye, a different species of lemur, and apparently this species is known for sacrificing beautiful aye-ayes to what they call bell gods at the center of the earth.
Oh, so here's where the sentient bells underground go. Okay.
Sounds a lot like sky gods, but we see these. They're the same ones I briefly mentioned were plotting from before. They are literal bells underground. They have prophecies in a whole society, and they foretell a time of lemur war which is about to come. Season 4 finale. Kodo conquers every Madagascar kingdom and enslaves everyone. Mort tries escaping by acting as if he's a drop-dead hot chick, and their guard is a handsome sailor. He's had some clear experience. He asks Todd not to judge him. Todd stares blankly into space, of course. With Kodo, it ain't personal. Conquest is just business. Julien does a dance-off, but fails from lack of endurance. Everyone calls Mort delusional, as he uses his teeth to drill out of the prison and save Julien. Mort distracts the execution snake via twerking hypnosis. Mort, epically enough, is the last line of defense. The snake plays with its new food while Julien escapes on a submarine, starting up exiled. Chapter 1. Kodo wants to, quote, make Madagascar great again. Mort is devastated and works like the other captives as an unpaid intern that carries enormous boulders on his back. I swear, Sage is like a parody of wisdom itself and says his usual quote, something like, we are all just kicking the cosmic footy sack with a guy named Skeeter who lives in a van. This is the sort of stagnation everyone else is going through while Mort is taking action. He crawls up on his back like the cat he doesn't know he is, and consults his inner room of personalities once again. They brainstorm on how to kill Kodo, while acting in various ways and doing various bizarre things. One of them says,
Oh, baby, daddy likey.
does this somehow imply Mort has absorbed his father? Thought he was a bear. Or does he just see him as a Mort now? How'd he absorb a bear? Maybe Mort has the unique power to absorb non-Morts, which puts him apart from the likes of the Mort horde, and has resulted in a genetic soup? I really want a Mort v Morticus deathmatch. One of the mental Morts says to kill the other lemurs as well, and now we truly do get to see the sorts of evil Mort has rattling around in his soul. He laughs like the villain he is, and everyone is horrified. He's stupid, but he feigns stupidity to an extent as well. He plans to murder Kodo straight up. Mort has a lot of hella wicked schemes, but he wily coyotes himself every single time, putting him in a full-body cast. They soon later take it off because he regenerates quickly, of course. Kodo is amused and makes Mort his jester. Chapter 2.
Wily Coyote Mort. Acme Traps.
Sage divorces his hawk, who he also raised from birth. Mort's rib punctures his stomach. Kodo relishes the job and forces Mort to consecutively smash plates on his own head. He dismisses Mort as ignorant, but we once again zoom into his mind and see his evil personalities claiming they understand everything. The little good and bad voices on Mort's shoulders don't exist.
I mean, you could just see it as, God, I'm forgetting what it's called, but it's the thing where, like, somebody who doesn't know how to do something or know that much about a topic is usually much more confident in their abilities than somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. So, I mean, you could just be dealing with that.
For he has a whole society of differing perspectives that take their own spotlights. They do this constantly in Exiled, and they all try possessing him to no avail. Chapter 3. Todd is eaten by a snake mid-dance routine. Speaking of snakes, Mort slithers like one during an escape attempt. Serpentine ancestor wiggles like a slug too. We learn that the psychic lizards can teleport. During another escape, Mort seduces the same guard with his "Hey sailor" talk and asks for her hand in marriage. His inner voices object to it. With Julien gone, his personas are really active somehow. One of them suggests a prenup. He manages to win the guard's affection by moving her 1 inch after slamming into her from deflecting off a tree she punched him into. A burglar persona seemingly takes over Mort. We also see a completely different character who actually looks like he has true dissociative identity disorder. Chapter 4. Kodo asks Mort why he constantly giggles evilly as he plots more escape routes. In other news, a fish that...
Honestly, I feel my brain turning off watching this. Like, this whole thing is just... Ugh.
Barf's mud vomits up a human hand that grants Clover a weapon to save the kingdom. More supernaturality. Mort creates a play to distract Kodo during their escape and calls everyone babe. 4 of his personalities mock and chastise him about his failure of playwriting. He gets a little immersed since he's only used to writing novels, but his play is successful and they all tunnel out. Chapter 5. Sharks can talk underwater. Apparently dolphins in this universe are, quote, villains that sell other sea creatures to Russian oligarchs. This isn't too far-fetched. I remember an evil dolphin from the Penguins show too, but that's for later.
I mean, yeah, generally, sharks don't have as bad of a rap as, sharks aren't as bad as their rap usually says. Dolphins, on the other hand, they're worse.
Tammy tells little Todd to, quote, inhale mama's wind, baby, as they escape through the tunnel. He is...
Okay, that honestly took me a second to realize what she was talking about. Like, again, this was a show made for kids, right?
He is right behind her butt. What? They then use Todd's face to shove her up through the ground. What? Kodo finds them. The fez-wearing crocodile ambassador calls Mort a yeti. Genealogical confirmation, Mort gets a couple of Mordecai voices in the corner of his head to aid him, and these two are fluffy yeti-esque savages, one of which threatens to bite through Kodo's Achilles heel. They escape in a cloud of fart, while Tammy sicks Todd on the guards.
I've always kind of wondered, whenever they show in cartoons, farts and stuff like that, it's always depicted as being like, a green cloud or a brown cloud or stuff like that. But, in real life, it's, unless something bad happens, farts are generally, they're invisible. They're a non-visible gas. So I honestly don't like the thought of visible farts, because it usually means that something's in the fart as well. Ugh.
Then something top-tier shocking occurs.
Mort goes to Narnia? No, sorry, I saw the wardrobe, I had to.
Topic that I've also done rigorous theories on in the past. Mort escapes Kodo by diving into a random glowing wardrobe in the jungle, which leads him down a tunnel and out into our world, where he is a real mouse lemur in real footage of Madagascarian nature. His crazy grandma is there, and she says,
You've come down the wishing well. Stay with us. This is the real you.
I can't tell if this is in his mind or if the wardrobe literally led to this sort of real-world heaven haven, but either way, it's perplexingly cross-dimensional. Unless it's not. You see, I have reason to believe, based on the granny's wording, that this is the real Mort, and the entirety of Madagascar is an elaborate fiction that he's trapped himself in for the sole purpose of self-defense in the real world. It makes sense. Everything radiates into his world. This seems to be implied by this scene, but all this would mean is that Mort is a sort of eldritch god of his own universe. Essentially then, whether this is truly in his mind or not doesn't change a single bit of the stakes and purpose of what's going on in the show.
Okay, so Mort is a real lemur, and literally the entire Madagascar universe takes place in his imagination. That would make sense as to why Puss in Boots was there earlier.
Either Mort is an elder god who built our universe, or he's a Goodman's mouse lemur that is the elder god of his own fictional universe, who hides there in his stories for safekeeping. This is presented as a random offhand joke, and I understand why. It's irrelevant, because we already knew Mort was some sort of omnipotent, ageless deity. It's most likely that this is just more of his crazy, indescribable, hyperdimensional inner mind, hence his granny also being there. It's a joke meant to confuse theorizing, basically, and I won't be confused by it. He flies back out of the ward.
Good. You keep doing what you're doing. I'll be confused enough for the both of us.
Robin promises to fight to the end. Julien is still trying to get back home, and he meets this enormous emotional tentacle in the depths of a cavern who claims to be an alien from another planet, confirming aliens' existence outright. Mort falls for his own traps, but doesn't die, of course. I was all fine and good until another character, Gigi, reveals she has a photo on her wall of another real-life animal. Where do we go from here? It's like SpongeBob, where it's sort of just perspective that makes these characters animated? Who knows? I've also theorized the exact opposite. Say this sentence 10 times fast to your therapist. The evil dolphins bully the nerdy tentacle alien and threaten to sell him to Russia. You can't make this shit up.
I can't even at this point. I honestly can't. What kind of drugs were the writers of this show on? I'm used to theories, making sense. And I was already used to theorizer, being nuts. That's basically his entire brand. But this show, I just can't even with this show.
Which is why I'm appalled that some DreamWorks and Netflix writers actually managed to do just that. Mort then explains to Gigi that scientists claim he has unclassified pheromones that make no sense and could possibly be alien. Mort outright confirms here that he's a genetic anomaly from outer space who has no memory. This is sadly a huge step. Sadly because of how ridiculous it is, and sadly because it means I can't get the chance to theorize on it as much. It also means Mort is aware of what scientists are and has had time to be studied. The question is he referring to when they came and kidnapped him in that other episode, or has he been a wanted anomaly for generations? I was told by you guys a few weeks ago to visit something called the SCP Wiki, because apparently my terminology and theories sound similar whenever I go off on an eldritch entity. I must say, it's a pretty interesting website. #non-spawn. Everything to do with Mort is intentionally contradictory in an interdimensional sense.
I mean, you could just say that, Mort being an eldritch entity is quite literally a living paradox and is not capable of our modern, terrestrial science of even classifying, even in the slightest.
Maybe this whole show is just the subdimensional brainchild of its writers. That's probably the single most complicated way I could possibly explain All Hail King Julien being a fictional show. Julien replaces the king shark that the dolphins kidnapped with a warhead, which they sell to the Russians. Comedic commentary. This show is truly starting to remind me of Twin Peaks. That Mort dream was mere foreshadowing of Exiled. Chapter 6 of 13. Mort furiously screams at Timo to open the freaking door. Apparently Sage was in an alien support group. I swear this show is building to something enormous. Commentary on charlatans, blah 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 blah. Mort is hit with his own cannonball, scorched by a blowtorch, blown up with a volume of TNT I would calculate had I not been in a rush to get this out due to the upload scarcity at the moment. Scarcity is because of this show. I have done nothing else. No worry, I'll be uploading a lot to make up for lost time, because the one thing this show has been good for is ideas. In this episode, Julien finds that Russian space monkey again, and so much here leads me to believe Mason and Phil were also rejected test subjects. Perhaps all the monkeys were, and these ones build a massive blimp similar to the plane in the film series. The other thing that crosses over from this show are the sky gods, which either do work by coincidence when Julien sacrifices the shark in film 2, or don't work at all because they're not on Madagascar, and the gods seem to be localized physical pagan deities. Chapter 7. Mort gets inside Timo's pod and discovers he's been held hostage by his own security system, who gained sentience and has been pretending to be a strict mother. Clover is somehow given a paranormal nightmare from Sage's mentor, warning her to exit the cult she joins and then deprograms. Yes, that has been a crucial plot point, and their seminars look like the Red Room from Twin Peaks.
Wait, she was actually in a cult?
Back to Mort, where this time, Mort's head cranks a whole 360 degrees. Owl Eye says that seems to be the limit as he cranks it right back. Chapter 8. They reprogram the robot and it aids Mort and Timo on a new quest. Apparently Hans, that zombie Mort keeps losing and finding again and has a true love for, has his own zombie wife and 2 zombie children. It infuriates the wife when Mort recruits Hans and he says, "Come on, kick me, I deserve it. I can take it. I'm mostly sawdust and bird guano in the middle." Okay, just gonna add that to the list. Didn't show up on the genealogy test. Yep, Mort can certainly...
I mean, at this point, I'm convinced that Mort is literally just, he was a skinned animal, and that was magically brought back to life, and he to give him form, he was just stuffed full of whatever garbage was at hand.
Only take that kick, immortal headass. Julien and Maurice are still trying to get back to stop Kodo, and now they've encountered Fusa, who they turn on each other. The Fusa use electric saws, laser beams, automotive accidents, atomic and nuclear bombs, plane crashes, and Godzilla to fight one another, none of which we see outside of Julien's reaction to it. Sage's mentor swaps the minds of Clover and Sage so Clover can use his body to save the kingdom. Turns out it was probably another paranormal lucid dream. Outside of the mind space, he's a floppy fish. The zombies suggest Mort gets his own army.
Why did you say it like
Mort
that?
laughs evilly, transitioning us into Chapter 9, in which Mort downs some coffee, permitting Smart Mort to rip through and seize the assets of Mordecus Khan. During transformations like this one, Mort's body physically doubles for split seconds. I wonder if Smart Mort is the original. He says, "You don't know how much it hurts me to be here. I'm just too smart." The mom robot questionably sings him a song about how if you're smart in life, suppress it, because the world loves stupid. This parallels exactly what I think Smart Mort did. Sort of like my theories on Patrick Star, he defends himself with a stupid alter ego he gained. Perhaps. Again, could be either or, as Mort himself isn't fully stupid either. The song is basically a hardcore satire on the concept of it's okay to be you. Contextually, this show actually makes some sense. Sadly, it's not all fast-paced slapstick at all. Julien nearly is killed by Fusa, but claims it is plot armor that keeps him alive, and he does a matrix kick to perfection. Once Smart Mort enters Khan's universe, he disappears out of fear and leaves them all stranded amidst the army and a furious Mordecus. Carl appears to save the day somehow, and Maurice is kidnapped. But everyone, you must know this. Chapter 10. Everything ever is explained. Holy hell, is it ever.
What do you mean everything
the show
ever?
damn near ceased to be mysterious after this. I mean, I didn't even know what I'm supposed to do. But look at the time. I simply cannot edit all of this, and I've yet again tested my video lengths way too hard. I have limits, but again, I will edit the third and final section of part 2 ASAP. But again, honestly, as you'll see, at this point, it's just part 3 and 4 for algorithmic sake. Subscribe. Do not miss anything. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at theorizer.yt, and until the very soon next time, I'm the theorizer.
I swear, the writers of the show were legitimately on some sort of substance. Possibly illegal. Because I refuse to believe that, sane people wrote a show where you had this one character that was just so weird. Again, kind of pointing towards the whole idea that he may, in fact, just be... I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. If this is how weird this theory is now, I have absolutely no idea how bad it could get in the future. Okay. So yeah, that's definitely going to be it for now. So yeah, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.